hits keep coming at E3 2017. I am at the 505 booth about to play last day of June, and I already know that this is going to be one of those type of games that gives me all the feels. It already looks very Up-esque. And if you don't like Up, if you didn't have some tears during that opening scene, you're a monster. You have no soul. And so this is a game about love, loss, grief, and basically coping. And since it's a video game, what would you do to save the one you love?
I'm gonna show you a little secret. If you press X now, you can do love me not.
Oh, that's adorable.
It's really important for us.
Oh gosh, my feels.
You don't actually have to do this, but a lot of the game is about tiny details that you don't have to encounter. But if you look for them, you'll find them. And they tell you more about who Carl is, who June is, and what kind of world they live in.
What I'm liking about this game thus far is even though there are no mouths and no eyes, so to speak, you can still see or feel the emotion. It's just something that's innate in human beings, and it's so minimal, but you can understand the emotion that's going on between these two people.
So we were really inspired by impressionist painters like Monet, for instance.
Okay.
They don't need details to tell a story. They use like very broad strokes of color, and with that they tell a feeling, right? And for us it's kind of similar. We use very strong colors and very clear animations. We don't really have dialogue. So with simple elements we try to tell a very complex story about the two.
Looks like they're just at their favorite summer spot in June. The titular character is the person I just gave the flower to.
So for this game we were inspired by, you know, how many people say that they don't like video games, and to us that kind of feels normal. Of course some people don't like video games, but then we started thinking, like, if we were to say that we don't like music or we don't like movies, people would feel like that's a very broad statement. There's so many kinds of music or so many genres, right? How can you dismiss an entire art form? And so we started thinking, why do people say they don't like games, right? And I think it's because there's not enough different stories. There's not enough things that people can relate to, right? And so what we try to do with this game is to tell a story that is very human. There's nothing wrong with shooting and jumping, but sometimes together with your die-hard, you need your documentary.
Oh God, my feels. Oh. Like, I love playing games like this where you're not necessarily trying to save the world by blowing it up. It's always a nice change of pace, and it says a game like this says so much without having to do the most. Like, I'm getting to know these two people's lives. Like, this is a day out with friends. It looks like it might be somebody's birthday. Might be a wedding day. Maybe they decided not to do the traditional white and tux thing. I don't know. But you can tell that they're very much in love.
So it's a bit of a tricky balance to make a game that is more accessible. First of all, you have to make it easier to control. Like, if I were to show the controller to somebody who doesn't play video games, they'd be scared by how many buttons there are on it. But at the same time, you also want to make a game that traditional gamers can play, so that it has the challenge and the complexity of a normal game. So what we try to do is to have a prologue that is very much about the characters, very much about the story, the emotion, and the place that it takes place in, which is more something for people that like traditional narrative. And then slowly we unveil more mechanics as the game goes on, so to appeal also to a more traditional audience. So we hope that by being this gradual, we can make it more accessible for a lot more people.
Right now, I'm just really enthralled with the art style. I'm intrigued about the themes, because who hasn't loved someone, lost someone, grieved, and tried to cope? So I'm very curious to see where their story goes, and I want Carl to get June back. And I want to not have all these feels, because thugs don't cry, and I'm not going to cry on camera. But I have a lot of the feelings going right now. But again, this is last day of June. We're at 505 Games at E3 2017, and this is Tom's Guide. And for more coverage on this and other games, stay tuned.